And with that, could I just starting with Ed, could I just ask you guys to introduce yourselves to the audience briefly, and then I'll ask a question to kick you all off.
Sure, no problem. Hi, everybody. My name is Ed Lee. I'm the Vice President of Content Acquisition for Roku.
Is this on? Parisa Panku, I'm the director at Verizon in charge of LTE broadcast.
Hi everyone, I'm Christian Bombrin. I'm in charge of content and digital service in France for Orange, and no longer France Télécom. France Télécom branding is gone since 2 years now, but happy to be around.
Thomas Riedel, I'm running Android TV partnerships based in California.
Okay. That's a very interesting lineup of panelists. So, I mean, I guess if we just start off with a relatively general question, just to give you all a chance to speak a little bit about, your personal, perhaps your company's views on the development of visual entertainment. I mean, we always wonder whether to use video or TV, but actually I think it's a lot broader than that now, and I think the composition of this panel reflects that. But whenever we look at the size, the performance of television, of visual entertainment in general, lots of the metrics which we look at, the very basic ones, audience, the level of engagement, the amount of money people are spending, the ways in which people are watching television at the moment. There are generally, overwhelmingly, many positive indicators. We firmly believe at Ovum that TV's best days lie ahead. So, I mean, if we start off with the thesis that TV doesn't appear to me to be broken, argue back by all means. What is it that you guys in your roles at your respective companies would like to change or would like to evolve about the current visual entertainment system? And with that, I guess, could we start with Thomas, whose parent company, Google, is obviously has a grounding in search and technology. And a few years ago, we would have been surprised to have seen you here at all, Thomas.
Well, I'm happy to be here, so thanks so much for having me, despite our maybe lack of cloud and TV market. What we're really talking about for Android TV, and the reason I am really excited to be here today, is that we are taking something that we found to be very successful on the mobile and tablet space and taking it to the big screen. Android TV as a platform is actually something that builds on the foundation of what you've seen on phones and the tablet space. Today, when you have a new phone like the Samsung Galaxy S6, you take it on, you actually know exactly all your apps that you had from your previous Android phones. You know the content, you know how to use it. We've realized that having that platform in this space for mobile phones and tablets worked extremely well across the device makers, across content publishers. It's something that just took off way beyond our expectations. And then we looked at the TV space and we realized, wait a minute, there's actually something there that we've seen before. That fragmentation, having different operating systems. We've been there with YouTube, for example. YouTube had to build its own apps for each mobile phone system at the time. And now we're still building it for each different television operating system for the time, right? We're building it for Tizen, we're building it for WebOS, we're building it for every platform out there. It's really painful. It's really hard to do. And taking all these lessons from this fragmentation, we realized we can help do something in the TV space in a partnership model. It's about giving you a platform and letting people take that, giving you standardization where it's required, but not really mixing things up too much. Because as you said, the TV model as such, watching live TV isn't broken.
So how would addressing the issue of fragmentation across TV OSs improve either the commercial or the audience experience from what we have today?
So what we realize is that in the TV space, I mean, it sounds so obvious, but what you want to do is just sit back, relax, and watch a great piece of content. A lot of times it's discovery. You switch something on, you do channel surfing, and it works. So what we realized at the same time, however, is that people have become more demanding, but it's different for each user. So in our case, you have a platform, you put it on a set-top box, you put it on a smart TV, you put it on an OTT box, and that platform is actually that standardized layer in terms of how you integrate a tuner, how you then plug in your apps and games. But if you're a standard user, you watch TV, it just works like you do before. And then what you can do if you want to, and that's very important, it's about user choice, it's about the option. We don't want to throw all the apps in your face. We don't want to give you a home screen you have to use to somehow get through your TV channels. If you want to, you can watch Netflix. If you want to, you can watch some great content from one of your smaller apps locally in the market available. You can do a lot of things, but you don't have to. So what we realized, it's about improving the experience, but not mixing it up, not changing it. That's the idea.
Shall we come to the other side? Ed, would you like to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so thank you very much for letting us, letting Roku participate here today. I mean, I think from our standpoint, you know, we certainly believe that the best years for the television are ahead of us. We believe very strongly that, and it's a pretty strong statement, but that ultimately all television will be streamed. You know, just in terms of delivery, it's just a much more cost-effective way to distribute content. You know, I've been with the company over 5 years, and we've seen the number of channels come onto the platform just go absolutely gangbusters. When I started, we had 12 channels in the Roku channel store. In the US, we're now over 2,000. In the UK, we're now over 1,400. So we are seeing just a huge increase in interest from content partners. And then commensurate with that, we're seeing a huge interest in customers. So we continue to sell a lot of product. Not only do we sell Roku players, we sell streaming sticks, similar to what my friend at the end of the couch sells. We also sell an operating system for TVs, so we have a smart TV line now called the Roku television. And so we really see from a usability standpoint, it really is important to try to standardize that platform as broadly as you can across as many devices as you can. From a content partner perspective, it's a lot easier, obviously, to build for fewer number of platforms. And from a consumer standpoint, you know, they like that familiarity, right? So if I've got a TV, if I've got a stick, if I've got a player, they like that familiarity from a UI perspective. Also, we feel very strongly in the UI that the UI should be very, very simple. We do present consumers with the home screen. We present consumers with choice in terms of what channels that they can add onto their home screen. They can move them around, which ones they want to remove. But we really believe, from a UI perspective, that simplicity is king. You know, one of the things we also believe in is that navigation is not entertainment. And so we believe that getting the UI in front of a customer is very, very simple, and getting them into content is very, very important. So keeping them just a couple of clicks away from the content is really important as well.
So, I mean, you know, personally speaking, and I admit, you know, using a sample of one is, you know, usually not a great idea, but, you know, I think I speak for a number of people when I say, you know, sometimes I struggle with 200 channels on a standard television service. How do you guys deal with the presence of, I think you said 2,000 potential content options?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, you know, UI, keeping the UI as simple as possible is very important. We also have search on the device, allowing customers to search. We just added voice search on the latest update of the Roku. They use it quite a bit.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you share any metrics?
I can't share any metrics today, but it's one of our. It's one of the easiest ways for customers to find programming. So from that standpoint, you know, we're constantly looking at at iterating on the user experience. We launched a feature called My Feed, sort of a 1.0 version of that feature, which allows customers to follow movies that are available in the theaters, and then when it becomes available on either a transactional VOD partner or a subscription VOD partner, that they would then be alerted that particular movie is now available for purchase or for rental. So we are iterating on that and doing a lot of things within the UI. We also have a mobile application with apps available on Android and iOS to allow customers to discover programming directly from their phones and then be able to play it on the TV.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ed. Parissa, your CV is incredibly impressive. I mean, you know, you've been right on the cutting edge of Verizon's visual entertainment services, you know, through a number of stages of evolution now. You know, I guess it would be interesting to hear. Obviously, Verizon has a very significant television business, reliant on a relatively high ARPU, really needing to stay at the leading edge of what the audience can access to justify that premium. You know, how do you guys at Verizon see the development of the television experience?
So, as you mentioned, Verizon has always been very interested in video in general. Obviously, about 10 years ago, my team launched Fios TV, which was after we laid the fiber in the ground and we built a traditional, quote-unquote, cable TV business on that platform. So after that, we just pushed the envelope, which brought the live TV on game consoles such as Xbox, even Roku. And given that the other side of Verizon, on the wireless side, we have about 100 million plus customers, the small screen obviously became bigger and bigger, and the content usage on that screen became more and more apparent. I guess there is no argument as to what screen people are using the most to watch content in U.S. Excuse me. Given that aspect and ecosystem, we started pushing the envelope on the small screen size. TV everywhere. Verizon was the first company that launched with HBO Go. We worked with them for a year, about in 2010, and launched HBO Go. Back then, again, TV everywhere was a rare concept. It took a while for it to take off, and now almost every content provider has an online service. Moving to the wireless space, LT broadcast.
Wow.
That's the one big, huge initiative that Verizon, again, in the innovation space, has been working on for the past 2 years. My team particularly, we have demonstrated and have gone to market actually with it. So I can expand on that later on. But we are just looking to see how we can push the envelope and be a game changer, and also have gone after original content and programming. We have acquired some that it has been announced that we're going to launch a content online service sometime in 2015.
Is that Yaveo?
Sorry?
Is that
Awesomeness TV.
Awesomeness TV.
Yeah.
So that was the YouTube multi-channel network. Awesomeness TV was previously an MCN, a multi-channel network. Is that? Would that be?
It's.
Is
it? Yeah,
It is currently.
Cool. I mean, it would be. So what was it about Awesomeness TV which convinced Verizon to acquire it?
Dad, you have to ask a question of our content team, but
Okay.
They were basically looking into short form, short form content.
Okay.
Looking at the marketplace. People take about 15 to 20 minutes the most.
Right.
On a wireless device, not a tablet, on a small screen, and we're just looking for short form.
Okay.
Can I jump in on?
Of course you can.
Sorry, to jump in on Awesomeness, because it's one of the things we all get lost in. As I look at the audience here, and I don't see any 14, 13-year-old or younger generation. I encourage every single person in this room to go to VidCon. It'll change your mind, and it'll change how you see content. Kids today interact with content in a very, very different way, and Awesomeness is a perfect example of this new generation of content. Awesomeness works with YouTube kids, and the difference is that the kids are watching the content on their tablets and on their phones, and they're not watching it on TV. So we're talking about connected TV, and I agree with the panelists and I myself. TV for this generation is the primary source of content, but for the next generation, it may not be. It's interesting. I'll tell you a little anecdote about Awesomeness. They made a movie called Expelled with one of their main YouTube celebrities, Cameron Dallas.
Yeah.
I have a friend over at Fox. That friend at Fox called me up and said, "What's up with these YouTube things? I know you guys are investing in," and credit to Google. YouTube has created this incredible world of really celebrities that have massive, passionate, deep followings, audiences I was speaking about before. And when someone at Fox calls me and says iTunes called them to thank them for all the new customers that Expelled the movie brought, that's powerful. Think about how many customers iTunes has that have already signed up for that service. And the fact that by putting this one piece of content from Awesomeness onto their platform, that iTunes was able to be impressed by new signups to that service. That's the power of this next generation of celebrities, and I think it's a really exciting acquisition for Verizon.
I mean, that is, I mean, it's very interesting, and perhaps, well, you know, I mean, I was going to make the point that kids don't have much money. So, so you know, your characterization of the MCN perhaps as a promotional tool is a very interesting one. Now, that, of course, it convinces them to spend more of their parents' money somehow. But, you know, I mean, I guess, of course, it's important to drive those level of engagements with what is a key demographic in the here and now. But actually, I guess, is what we're looking at a very, very long-term investment in making sure you know, you're engaging with the audiences of the future before they grow up and get their own paychecks. Is that how you see it, Sam?
I think it's incredibly important to be aware of that. I mean, I remember when I was in the old, you know, back in the movie days, you know, in the beginning of my career, what were the 13-year-olds watching? And like, how do we get 13-year-old boys to go to the movies? That was the main question. Right. Guess what, folks? They're not going to the movies anymore. They are very, very much focused on whether it's watching people play Minecraft or watching someone like Hannah Hart do cooking or watching someone unwrap Disney toys. It is a very different kind of entertainment. It is a two-way dialogue. They have a personal connection to that creator. They are communicating with that creator by talking to them and chatting with them and getting feedback. And they're actually also shaping how the content is made. A lot of these MCNs are taking cues and saying, okay, we're looking at doing this show, and they get feedback from the fans, and they go, okay, we're going to change the show to accommodate what you're saying. And it is this very, very different dynamic of two-way dialogue. Look, we as a company are investing very heavily in this particular space. We've seen a lot of traction. We have had several YouTube films, YouTube creators creating films now. Just announced a movie from Wong Fu channel, which we're excited about launching in June. And there are many, many more that are in discussion. But we see a lot of traction, engagement, excitement. And again, if iTunes can get new customers from this world, a platform like Vimeo is glad to reach out and embrace it.
Okay, so I'm eager to make sure we don't let Christian feel too left out. So, of course, you know, one of the leading telecommunications and content companies in a key European market in France. The television service, again, if I understand it correctly, is a premium service reliant on being relatively technologically forward-looking. I read recently you've introduced, again, you guys have acknowledged the demand for online content through, I think, an initiative called Les Chaînes du Web, where you showcase web content. So, I mean, how do you guys, as a premium television service, you know, you guys work with all the biggest channels anyway, what is it you see in online content? And, I mean, do you guys have a stake in, you know, making sure that, you know, young kids who have no money are watching your service as well?
Yes. Let me jump on that in a minute, because, yeah, we made recent announcement regarding MCN, but sure. Regarding strategic insight, I think that wouldn't surprise you that we share most of the things with Verizon, because in our respective market, we found ourselves in a relatively similar situation. With very big player on the French market, 27 million mobile subscribers, 10 million broadband subscribers, so that's a very huge customer base. And for those customers, we deliver an entertainment proposition like Verizon, and this proposition is delivered consistently among all the screen, whichever they are mobile, broadband subscriber. Maybe the specificity of the French market is we are eagerly deploying fiber optic and 4G. We're above 4 million 4G subscribers. But unlike in the US, we start TV using the ADSL technology, meaning right now, out of the 10 million broadband subscribers, we have 6 million deployed set-top box using DSL. So right. You're watching TV through DSL. So yeah. Before jumping to the cutting-edge discussion we have, one of the core things we do is deliver standard linear television to those 6 million households which use this technology to watch daily the TV consumption. What I can testify, because on the network we see everything. Of course, on-demand is growing, MCN is growing a lot, but if you look at the actual consumption, linear television is still by far the biggest consumption that we see on our network. Yes, yes. However, we see ourselves as an aggregator, distributor of all those new entertainment technology, not only TV, by the way, because we have a game, we have a gaming proposition, 200 console game quality using cloud gaming technology. We have music. So we have a whole value proposition consistent of among all the screens. And that is, of course, linear TV, catch-up TV from the linear TV, 10,000 VOD, pay VOD model, and also we decided to go for the SVOD model, not doing it by ourselves, but we launched, of course, the SVOD local player with Canal Plus Group. But a couple of months ago, we also integrated Netflix within our box. And to keep on increasing the set-top box and to jump on what you said, we share the analysis of whatever the offer, even SVOD, however good is the offer. The kids were like somehow moving away from not traditional TV, but from big TV screens. So one thing we serve that, and what we launched 2 weeks ago is, yes, the service you mentioned, Chaîne du Web, is we signed with the 7 biggest MCN on the French network, on the French market, including Vice. You know Vice, the other one, our local player, and we gave them a channel, and those players have now 7 channels, both linear and on demand, and those are the brands that you mentioned, MCN company coming from YouTube brought to the TV screen, and the goal is to bring a little bit back the kids from the small screen back to the big screen.
So can I get that right? So you have 7 linear channels being populated by content from MCNs and Vice.
Exactly.
So how does that work?
Basically, we developed the technical infrastructure on that, and besides that, and we went and see those players. We went to see Vice and say, okay, we want you on board on TV, and we give you the tools to do that, and just do it. And basically, those 7 channels are entirely managed by those well-known MCN brands. So we don't do anything, but delivering the technical infrastructure.
Are they allowed to sell their own ad breaks?
Yes.
Very interesting. So, I mean, I guess another thing which kind of ties or maybe to a greater or lesser extent within the panel is, I believe that your TV product obviously, it doesn't use Android TV currently, which might be slightly to the chagrin of Thomas on the left over there. I mean, so as I understand it, you guys are currently using a proprietary OS on your set-top box. I mean, I don't know if Android TV's made a proposal to you, but how do you think about whether you should keep going with what you're currently using, or how would you be otherwise convinced to change?
That's a very interesting question. So I know Thomas very well. So you can guess that we discussed a couple of times. And first, I can say that Android TV is a great product. The UI work by the Google team is amazing, and I personally like the work that has been done. And it's deploying. And you didn't say, but 2 of our competitors have on the French market. They have decided to go for an Android TV UI and OS. We did not take that path, and for a couple of reasons. One thing you mentioned, and Thomas mentioned also, it's the user experience. So in a way, the user experience from, say, a technology company like Roku or Google somehow competes a little bit with the user experience that you can find in Verizon or Orange. Let's say the vision we have in Orange is one thing we should deliver to the customer is, in addition to have the greatest content offer, including TV and games, as I mentioned, it also to have the best UI, and the most consistent UI among all the screen. And last year we did a major rehearsal of the new UI, we call Polaris. And this UI is consistent among all the screens. And to be honest with you, at this stage, the level of customization that Android is able to give us was not sufficient enough to deliver this single unified UI among all the screens that we want for all of customers. The second reason, and let's jump into the debate of the store, and should we have a store, an open store on TV? That's frankly speaking, that's an industry-level debate.
Okay.
In Orange, we think that we should have the best offer as possible, an offer which is wide, which has a lot of service, including legacy TV, linear TV, to Netflix up to MCN. But we want to be in control. So our vision is the offer should be organized. So we don't think that the store approach, an open store approach is the right one. So that's the reason why we didn't, at this stage, go to Android TV.
Okay, I mean, that's very interesting. So it's only fair to let Thomas have a say on this point. I mean, you know, I believe I'm right in saying that, you know, two of Christian's competitors use Android TV in the French market.
Yes.
So, but then on the other hand, we can speak to, I think, each of your four co-panelists who will talk about the importance of controlling your own destiny through your OS, through the user experience across multiple devices. How do you convince someone with that point of view to work with you guys? So how did you convince Bouygues? How do you convince Free to go with you guys instead of you know, doing their own thing with their own OS?
Yeah, I mean, we are excited about our initial set of launch partners like Free in France, also like Sony switching all the smart TVs to Android TV. I think kind of hearing what people are saying, how the users' behaviors are changing, kids doing something completely different, we don't understand it. Oh my God, they're watching it on the phones, they're watching on the tablets, what's happening, MCNs jumping out. I think what we realize is that in addition to linear TV, there's just so much choice. And there's just loads of different ways to consume content. One of the reasons the kids are watching YouTube videos on their phones is because the experience on the TV is often crap. But if they actually find a way to do it with Cast, for example, throwing it on a big screen like within a second, that's actually something they like to do. And then they actually all of a sudden, they pick up on that feature. So what we realize is if you don't have a platform that allows you to build experiences like this really easily, it's such a huge pain. If you have a set-top box system that's closed and it takes you 10 months to integrate Netflix, you know, there's something fundamentally challenging than to respond to a user behavior like the kids doing loads of crazy things and changing their minds, which service they want to do at what point in time throughout the years. Like one of the top queries on YouTube is Minecraft, which is crazy if you think about it. It's a game, like you said, right? But people are watching other people play, and that's what it is, for now at least. And you know, it's a lot of fun. But how do you get that on your set-top box? How do you get it on your TV? How do you get it in your OTT box? You can hope that the content publishers kind of pick it up, build their experiences. But everyone says it's easy, right? This one platform says it's easy. This other platform says it's easy to build. But it's very hard to do. Okay. So I think, and you know, what Christian said about the store is fundamentally, I think, not something that's the right thing for everyone. And for us, the platform it's an open platform. It's free. We give it away. Everyone can put it on a device. But it's a choice. You have to make a conscious choice if that fits with your strategy of having a closed garden or an open one. We believe the users usually vote, you know, they vote with their feet, they vote with their wallets, with their phones. They are downloading the apps they want. And if they don't get the app they want, they're going to switch to the HDMI 2 or HDMI 3, and they're going to get it on a Roku or they're going to get it on a Chromecast stick, right? We hope with Android TV, you can actually get a solution for your set-top box that doesn't have the user switch over, because then they can get Vimeo, they can get other services on your own set-top box, on your smart TV. So we hope it's a partnership model, because today, right, you're talking to operators and say, how do you get apps in your set-top box? Like, how do you innovate? And they go like, well, you know, we integrate some services, but not others. We want to be selective. We believe that's one way to do it, but we don't understand why you should actually invest a lot of money in integrating with chips, integrating with hardware components. Android does that for you. So we can give you that free layer, and you do some really cool stuff on top.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, a couple of things. I'd like to segue perhaps more into the mobile delivery of visual entertainment next, because I think some of you guys have some very interesting stuff to say. But before that, I mean, one thing that occurs to me is, you know, Ed, you've got some incredibly big and powerful competitors to your right. I mean, how do you guys compete with, you know, this giants of technology, very well entrenched in their domestic markets, high ARPU products, this guy over here is making crazy new shows and crowdfunding stuff. I mean, how does Roku elbow your way into that in a very crowded living room?
Yeah, no, we get asked that question quite a bit, and the short answer is that we compete very well.
Okay.
We match up with all of our competitors very well. The company has a singular focus, and that focus is all about making the best TV experience better. And whereas some other competitors may have an OTT strategy as one of the products that they're pushing to market, whereas Roku, it's all we do. We're just singularly focused on that experience. And we see that when large competitors come into the space, it actually helps us from a sales standpoint, because it basically creates more awareness about the category. Right. And so as Amazon comes in with their product, Google comes in with their product, Apple's doing what they're doing with Apple TV, they just spend a lot of money, and thank you for that, a lot of money in advertising, just sort of creating category awareness. And where Roku benefits from that is because there is now category awareness about the OTT marketplace. People then do research, they want to understand, and when they start doing Google searches about OTT boxes, best customer experience, all that kind of thing, Roku naturally bubbles up to the top. We win all the reviews. We're CNET best CNET editor's choice. We win reviews consistently with every new product that we bring to the marketplace. So we constantly are focused on the best customer experience, the best content strategy, and the simplest UI. And bringing all those together really helps make Roku succeed.
I'd love to jump in, right?
Yeah.
One other thing my experience at GuyMTV, just to kind of tip my hat to Roku. Roku was one of the best customer acquisition channels that we had. The marketing dollars that were spent when I was at GuyMTV on Roku as a platform was one of the most worthwhile expenditures that we had. I think one of the things about Roku that's also powerful, which, Ed, I'll just say it for you, is as a customer who has both a Roku and an Apple TV, I can watch Amazon on my Roku. I can't do that on my Apple TV. And that's really irritating, right? You want to have a platform that is, I think that your core strength is that you are kind of agnostic. You don't have any skin in the game. You're not associated with Google or Apple or a telco. So you can really offer consumer choice wherever that choice is being built.
Absolutely. And thank you for that plug. That's very kind of you. And I will continue to hog the spotlight just for one more minute. The other thing that's very interesting to the point about being content agnostic is a lot of you probably don't know, but Google Play, the TV and movie service, is a Google product, right? And it is only available on Android devices, or so you would think. But if you turned on your Roku box and you went into the movies and TV category, you would see Google Play. And so we are the only non-Android platform that actually has the Google Play movie and TV service available to customers.
I hate to jump in here. That's actually, so we have it on Apple TV also.
Oh, you do?
Yes, but exactly. But to the point, right? I mean, Roku, we see the engagement on an OTT platform. I think that's taken off very well in the US. And we've launched a Play Movie service. So we haven't launched other service, but the Play Movie service is available in Roku boxes, as is on iOS devices. And I think that makes sense, because wherever the user then consumes the big screen content, you want to be there, right, from that standpoint. But we realized at the same time, though, that it was, it's a challenge to integrate all the services on all these different platforms. So we feel that pain from a content distributor perspective, that it's hard to keep up on each of these islands. But yeah, for sure.
Okay. I mean, one thing that I'm very interested in, and Parissa, I'd like your input on this. Now you're in charge of an initiative around LTE broadcast, around DWMBS, which is very interesting that Verizon should be looking at the distribution of visual entertainment down those channels. I suppose up till now, it seems to me that the mobile platform has always been a kind of an add-on to a better television experience somewhere else. Could you talk a little bit about how is that going to change with the introduction of 4G networks, LTE broadcast, DWMBS? I've always thought of LTE broadcast as a technology in search of a business model. It'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on that as well. And then of course, you bring a lot of services to bear in a single multi-play bundle of entertainment and services. I mean, maybe it's a bit premature, but how a mobile distribution strategy might impact upon how you sell those products and services would be interesting to hear about as well.
Yeah, that's the first question everyone asks me. How are you going to monetize this thing?
Right.
And it's quite obvious it's a new technology, and we have to be kind of patient for a few years till there's a penetration of devices, and more and more customer base and knowledge before we turn the table and start monetizing it. But also, to Sam's point earlier. The new buzzword in U.S. is the millennials.
Yeah.
That age that loves to watch everything on a mobile screen, and yes, that's also a age group that they don't make much money. Paying for content is going to become more and more rare because you can find anything pretty much for free on the web except for that original programming. So the model that we're looking into is have original programming that you can't find anywhere else, and also a lot of advertisement revenue.
Okay.
So with 100 million plus customers that the Verizon Wireless has, that's could become a good chunk of money on the on advertisement revenue. And as I said, as we penetrate more and becomes more and more mainstream technology, then we can come up with new. Business models to charge. Okay,
that's very interesting. So Christian, obviously you guys have a big stake in mobile as well. How do you see, are you guys excited about the commercial opportunities afforded by the transition to 4G?
Yeah, it's pretty much on the way, transition to 4G, and of course we're looking at the same technology than Parisa. The way we see it is, let's say we're moving of the next phase of TV everywhere. I'm not using that word anymore because the way we see it, let's look at the French market. Is like most of our subscribers are, all of the subscribers are triple play subscribers, and many of them are quadruple play subscribers, meaning that on a single bill they've got the mobile subscription and the broadband. So everything is like bundled into one single bill. That's very French specific. So the way we see those entertainment offer is to have exactly the same layer, the same experience among all the screens. So that means that we are not going. If you subscribe to a specific package or specific channel on your TV, you will get it at the same with the same experience, with no extra cost on your mobile. So we don't expect that as an additional revenue growth, as a specific revenue growth stream, but we expect that to remain part of the core value proposition that we deliver. The new things that we have launched in the last month and year, it's the fact that over screen interact smoothly with each other. Meaning, for an example, what we've done on VOD is since November now, you can purchase any movie on any screen and watch it on any of the other screens. And moreover, you start watching a VOD content on your TV, you switch, you turn it off, and you can keep watching it on any of the other screen on your mobile, on your tablet, on your PC, and it starts exactly at the second you've left it on your main TV screen. And that's part of, let's say, the enhanced experience that we are delivering through mobile, tablets, and set-top box.
I mean, it sounds like exactly an end to the kind of fragmentation that Thomas is so eagerly fighting. I mean, I guess I'd like to come on to Thomas next. I mean, Christian talks about ensuring that there's a consistent experience across all of the screens. I mean, I'm wondering, is there an opportunity to really innovate with perhaps a mobile-first visual entertainment experiences, which is somehow distinct from what we have elsewhere? How do you guys see that at Android TV?
Yeah, I mean, the mobile-first experience actually, for us, a lot of people talk about like a second screen. What are people doing on the phones while they're watching TV? How can I enrich my second screen experience? To be honest, what we found, a lot of people, I mean, the second screen experience is connected to the content is actually something rare. What most people do is they get bored watching a TV show. They just check on Facebook what's going on. So it's actually not a second screen experience. It's a separate experience on a phone because you're bored and you have attention deficit disorders. I actually don't know, how to focus on one thing at a time. So what we realized though is you're sitting in front of the telly and then maybe you have discovered while you're getting bored watching one show, you found something on your phone. How do you get it on the big screen to actually switch over? We have Chromecast as actually something that we launched as a dongle, but it's now a standard, it's a protocol. So let's say you have an iPhone in your hand, God forbid, and then on that iPhone you find great content. You can just send it to a cast receiver. That could be an Android TV device, it could be a Chromecast dongle, but we actually support that cross-platform engagement. You might think it's Android TV, so it has to be an Android everywhere strategy. We won't mind, for sure, but we realize the living room realities are very different. So if you have a phone, you find content, you want to throw it on the big screen, that's awesome. If you have an experience that you built for the phone, you want to take it to the big screen, we got Android for you on the big screen. So we don't want to limit the interactions. We don't want to have you build one experience and then make everyone use it, because that's not how the world works. It's more complicated. The family is more complicated. The kids do something else than the parents. It's just a really complex world.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.